Three, two, one, go. Good day, my name is Joshua Jerome Roman. As you can see on the slide that's currently presented to you, my student number is found at the bottom, and this is the presentation of my road design, which is given to us as a design project for 2023. The task that we were given is to upgrade an existing road that has reached its end life, or to upgrade a road to upgrade an existing gravel road as well. Either one of the options. As stated, I have to upgrade, and I have chosen to upgrade a road that has reached its end of lifespan. So the presentation that we will be going through, the topic that we will be speaking about is the site location, the reasoning behind upgrading the road, the software that was used for designing this road, and the guideline used, the Excel spreadsheet calculation which was required to have in our reports, the drawings that was generated by civil designer, the road signage, and then finally the conclusion. So the site location. The site location is located near Brakfontein, and the road that it's situated on is Van Scoorsdrift. And it's a small section of Van Scoorsdrift. As you can see in the image with the purple line through it, the road, if you go on the government website, you will see that they have conditional ratings for the roads, and the categories that they rated from goes from very good to fair to poor, and then very poor. As you can see, the purple on the road, which represents the very poor sections of a road that is found throughout South Africa, which is why I chose to use this road, as it's already stated that the road is in a very poor condition and requires attention. And on the image of the image with the red on the red shows the section or the portion of the road that will be upgrading, and you will see as well there is two pins that has been pinned on the image, which is the start and the end of the site, end of the road. As mentioned before, the road is in a very poor condition because there's the purple lines, which states all the road that's in purple is in a very poor condition. As you can see, as a visual condition assessment spreadsheet that I used, as you can see, you have the defects on the left, such as failures, cracks, aggregate loss, etc. And then right next to it, we have the degree and the extent. Now the degree and extent is what we use to evaluate those defects that is found in the road. For example, the degree represents the size of the damage. For example, if you find a big pothole, you will rate it as a degree 5. If you find a small pothole, you will rate it as degree 1. And the extent is the frequency upon which those degrees, those defects occur. So any aggregate loss or bleeding or whatever the case may be, how frequently it appears on the road. And as you can see, if you go to the bottom, you will see the VCI for visual condition, the condition for reseal, the condition for surface condition, structural condition, functional condition. They all fall under very poor. So the more defects that you have, the more it contributes to the road being very poor. Now, disclaimer that this information is not the exact defects found on that particular road, Van Scoorsdrift, but it is used to show, just to complement why the road is in a very poor condition, which was found on the government website. So it's not a real condition, but just to show that I do have an understanding that to understand why the road is rated very poor on the government website. So that is just a disclaimer. So the software that was used, in this project I used two softwares, namely Google Earth and Civil Designer. The two complement each other because, as you see, step one is just setting up the project, which just means basically creating a folder so that all the information on the things that's generated, the contours and everything that is generated, will be saved in that folder. So we will use Google Earth and Civil Designer together. They complement each other because Civil Designer works on the points, on the elevation, the contours, and it needs information on that particular site or road that you are using, and that is where Google Earth comes into play. There's an option to allow you to import contours, point elevations from Google Earth into Civil Designer, and from there Civil Designer can use that information and use the road to plot the road. And then the software that was used is the guideline used was a guideline given by Miss Balford, who lectures at CPUT, Cape Peninsula University of Technology in Bellville. She gave a Word document with all the steps and instructions needed to use Google Earth and Civil Designer and to generate different aspects of it. This is just summaries of that, so we'll only have to go through each and every one, but this is just the summaries of the instructions that was given. The Excel spreadsheet, to your left you will see the vertical alignment, to your right you will see the horizontal alignment, or vertical curve and horizontal curve. As you can see, the legend, the green is the input. So once the vertical alignment is established, once the vertical point is established, the PVC chainage, PVC elevation, the length of the curve and the grades is given by Civil Designer, and if you just punch those values in with the corresponding units next to it, you will the spreadsheet will then output the PVC chainage, the PVC elevation, the EVC chainage and the EVC elevation, and it's as simple as that. As well as Civil Designer also outputs the highest and lowest point depending on if it's sag or a crest, and that is why I included in the spreadsheet. If you can see at the bottom, there's an X value, which is used to find the lowest and highest point. So if you punch in the information needed by the input, it will also give you the highest and lowest value. The same goes for the horizontal. Using just the green is the input, and then which Civil Designer also generates, and then the output is what is calculated for you. This is just examples of those drawings that was generated. On the one image we have the cross sections of the entire road, and then on the other we have the long section. There was a few road signage that I included. As you can see, the road signage was basically just to say that there's a slight right coming approaching or slight left approaching, and then the W203, I have one of them, which is a stop sign, which is found at the three-way intersection at the end of the road, or which from my point of view indicated the start of the road. And then in conclusion, the Civil Designer is an excellent software to use because it makes things much easier. It helps you calculate things, it helps you calculate values, helps you generate values instead of drawing it out, finding it and going out to site to do all these things manually. It's an automated process which makes things much easier for you, so it will help you when you're doing long road, long stretches of road, when you're doing multiple sections of road in different areas. So it's an excellent software to use because it does complement and it makes things automated for you. The student version, which is the version I've used, it's quite limiting because it's a student version. Civil Designer is a company and they have the product. It's a product that they produce. The product they produced. So we obviously need to pay for that. So, but civil designer, for example, it does limit you in. I could not access spreadsheets um, from certain outputs that I wanted, such as from the mass hole diagram, the mass hole, um, and the cut and fill volumes. But it does output it on the output sheet, so I was able to capture it from there and put it on in my report. The mental help, it's a good help because it helps if I am perhaps lacking in some sense. I'm not focusing, or I just put in something for the sake of putting it in there. A mentor will help me to say, no, look here, what is this? Go and fix this, or just to go rectify this. And the development for me, it helped me understand that there's a lot that is involved when it comes to designing a road, but civil designer helps you make that process much easier and automated. And the purpose of this task was to give students more insight on what is being used, on how the different aspects needed in developing or designing a road. And thankfully, because due to the help of using civil design and the guideline that was given to me, I was able to develop my understanding of it when it comes to vertical, horizontal, and pavement designs. And all in all, I think it's a good software to use when you are designing a road. Thank you.